we just start with how frustrated I am that this movie exists. Not because of the quality of the content, but just the content itself. If you watch this channel, then you know that I used to be on another channel, a more popular channel, and we had done Velocipaster, I think it was, and in the course of talking about that movie, which is a really, really fun movie, I really, really enjoy that movie, just coming up with like other dinosaur related things in the course of the conversation. Because I was at that period of time, I was drinking a lot to get through a lot of stuff that was going on in my life. I remember that I said there should be a Jurassic Park energy drink called Fossil Fuel, but in the course of the conversation I was saying, we were talking about special effects, and I said, oh, it'd be kind of funny if you do one where there's dinosaurs but you don't see the dinosaurs. And as we continued to conversate, I was like, oh, Dino Geist. It was a curse, and it's funny. We were filming what was the originally going to. I shot most of another Amityville movie with that dude I used to work with, and we brought in the redhead and my friend Amanda to shoot the opening scene, which eventually I would recast that with Darcy as the redhead. And in the course of it, the the two girls were talking about supernatural, and they believe in all that kind of stuff. And the guy I used to do the show with was talking about how stupid it is because why isn't there ghosts of horses and cows and dinosaurs? And him saying that, I don't know, something stuck in my gray matter. And we were doing that review, and I was like, oh, it'd be kind of funny if you do a movie where there's a curse and it's unleashed on this area, and there's ghost dinosaurs, and you never see the dinosaurs, you just hear them, and you see a head getting ripped off out of nowhere and stuff like that. And then it would end with the person saying the spell to turn it all around, but what they accidentally do is send a ripple out, and it turns all the dinosaur skeletons in museums alive, kind of Night at the Museum style. So I had written 2 drafts of Dino Geist, one back when I was working at that place, and then one afterwards to kind of just like say, fuck you, I'm gonna do this thing, and then it just kind of sat, like most of these scripts, vampire, Jaws Ferratu, Laser Dude, whatever. And then I see a trailer pop up on Facebook or Twitter a couple months ago with Sean Astin from Goonies and Lord of the Rings and the Willies, and it's called Invisible Raptor, and there's a fucking invisible raptor in it. And yeah, it bummed me out, man. And I was just like, God damn it! Like, somebody got to this idea. Now, granted, these aren't ghost dinosaurs. It's just an invisible dinosaur. So the movie's on Tubi, so I watched it last night, and it bummed me out, man. It bummed me out just because, like, fuck, that was a really fucking good idea. It would have been a little bit of like Invisible Man meets Dinosaur Tax, the trading cards. And it was a fun script. It was a little script, and there was a group in it of paranormal investigators that were like a TV show, and they were like fakes, and they were called Paranomors. And I had wanted the ghost getters from the Living in 8-Bit, or not Living in 8-Bit. Living in 8-Bit was Michael Lecision's group that came out when we were in Underbelly. What are they called? 8-Bit Eric and the Game Chasers. Sorry, I'm losing my mind today. I wanted them to reprise those characters, and they're there to investigate this area where there's invisible dinosaur ghost attacks, and then people would get possessed, and the girls would become like girl raptors and stuff like that. But that has nothing to do with this movie. So Sean Astin's in this movie for like 2 minutes. It's one of those movies that feels like it wants to be Mosquito, it wants to be Jack Frost, it wants to be one of those like 80s, 90s kind of tongue-in-cheek horror comedy movies. The lead guy, at first till I looked it up, I thought it was the guy who was the Green Ranger who killed himself, because he looks a lot like him. And also the other dude looks like Henry Thomas, who was Elliot in E.T. I was like, is that him? I had to look it up. The one funny cameo to the movie is the girl who played Jeff Goldblum's daughter in Lost World is in it, and she's a DJ, and she's in one scene, and she's like, "Can I kick it?" And I was like, "Aha, that's funny." But the movie is like awkward and not particularly poorly made. It's fine the way it's made. All the invisible effects are fine. I like that they never bothered to explain the pseudoscience. They're like, Jurassic Park, the Invisible Man, it's sort of like that. Um, you have cheap things that I would do, like the girl the main guy's interested in. His name is Amber, so he could say he can get stuck in Amber. And there's just a lot of like awkward comedy in it that's supposed to be really funny, and a lot of it falls really flat, but some of it actually works. The stuff when the dinosaur is like covered with a sheet, or when it's like visible in certain ways, it's actually pretty well done. But for the most part, the movie just like, it's like somebody smelling their own farts. It just kind of revels in itself too much. You have this disgraced paleontologist who's kind of our lead, who keeps having to say like "invisible raptor" to the camera. And it's a totally hacky way. I mean, I wrote Amityville Pool Toy Massacre, so fuck me, right? I have no room to talk. But there's just too much of that. And then you have like Mac's mom from It's Always Sunny is sort of like the Captain Spaulding character of this one. There's a lot of like you can tell that there's a lot of like Critters 2 and Carnosaur in it as well, where they try to echo those things. Constant references to like other movies and Aliens and Predator and stuff like that. It gets to be a little too heavy at certain points. Your disgraced paleontologist is now working at Dinosaur World, which is like a little amusement park where he has to rap to kids about the mating habits of dinosaurs while like dry humping a guy in a dinosaur suit that's the security guard, whose main subplot is that in 6th grade somebody told him he had a small penis, and that's haunted him ever since. Like, this is the level we're getting at. Yeah, it's too reference heavy. It's too obvious in where it's going with its comedy, and when it does like the gore stuff, it actually, the practical effects work. The guy who I thought was Henry Thomas, who said that the security guard had a small penis when he gets killed, it's actually really well done. It's really like, dark and drawn out and funny. Very dark comedy, but for the most part, it's just like, I don't know. And then to market it so much on Sean Astin, that he's literally just in the beginning of the movie, and that, to lead into a Weekend at Bernie's joke. I don't know. Yeah, it feels like it wanted to be one of those 80s, 90s, Tammy and the T-Rex kind of things, but eventually just kind of like falls into that and stops becoming satire and just becomes parody of those things. The Raptor is named Chance the Raptor instead of Chance the Rapper, and I was like, oh, this is the level we're going at here. I don't know, it had elements that I liked, but I'm automatically going to be pissy about it because I had this fucking idea first. There's a whole episode of another channel where I'm talking about it. So that bummed me out, man, and it's like, alright, and as soon as I saw the trailer, I fucking deleted the entire script out of my, off my hard drive, and I was like, nope, that's another one somebody beat me to, because I talked to, I don't think these people watched that show and got the idea from me. But it still was just like, god damn it, man, I thought I had a really fucking cool idea that we could have done cheap, and somebody beat me to it. So yeah, Invisible Raptor, if they played it straight, if they played it more like those 80s, 90s, Cinemax, USA Up All Night kind of movies, and didn't go so far into the parody of it all, and the references of it all, or at least not call out the references, if it bleeds, we can kill it, kind of stuff. I think it would have worked a lot better if its tongue was in its cheek and it played it straight, than the paleontologist turning to the camera and saying, Invisible Raptor could work a lot better. Instead, this one kind of doesn't know what it wants to be. It wants to be this goofy comedy. it wants to be this parody, and it wants to be this homage, but none of them kind of have the conviction to be what they are. So, yeah, 2023 Invisible Raptor. It's about an invisible raptor. I like that they don't explain the science. They just say, oh, it's like this and like this and like that. And but yeah, I don't know. And again, the small penis guy just got to be annoying after a while. You know, I understand what his character is supposed to be, but it just gets like, all right, we get it. Like you're trying to be the Steve Zahn of this one, and it does not work. Yeah. It needed nudity too. There's a shower scene or a bathtub scene, but everything's covered up. It could have used a little bit of TNA in it and a little bit more gore in it as well. But whatever. It's an interesting little throwback piece, and it's the reason that I deleted an entire script that I worked on. So, Invisible Raptor. That's this week's review.